this segment, we're talking about the all-time political all-star team from Michigan, one of my favorite states. There's no state I enjoy vacationing in more than the great state of Michigan. We're also joined for this segment by our compatriot in this effort, Amy Lutz, a local historian and you've been involved in politics and history for a tremendous amount of time.
Third of my life, at least.
What is your degree in, Amy?
I have a master's degree in history.
Right, and right now your job is?
I work in communications at the local Holocaust Museum.
And Amy's been a great help in me putting together some of the parts of this final mission over the past few months, and we're delighted she's here with us today for a few of these segments. So right now, Michigan, a beautiful, beautiful state, great for golf, great for swimming, great for apples, great for snow, and good for cars. I can't leave out cars and music, of course. A couple other things it's known for. But when it comes to politics, some of the All-Stars team include a very modern governor, John Engler, the governor of Michigan for multiple terms in the 1990s. Really had a tremendous impact on the modern history of the state of Michigan. The lieutenant governor, William Milliken, served much longer ago, another Republican like Engler, but also served in many higher offices beyond just lieutenant governor and a very influential part of the state of Michigan. Other statewide officials for Michigan include Frank Kelly, a Democrat Attorney General, Fred Warner, a Republican Secretary of State, Allison Green, the Treasurer of Michigan, Republican, and John J. Adam, no relation to the John Adams himself. John J. Adam, Democrat, is the state auditor comptroller. Two very, very influential United States senators make this from Michigan here. First, you have Republican Arthur Vandenberg, in the 40s and 50s, one of the preeminent foreign policy voices in the United States Senate. And he did chair, obviously enough, he chaired that committee at times, but incredibly long-serving and important voice. Another is probably the first really famous Michigan politician is Lewis Cass, a Democrat, member of multiple cabinets of Democrat presidents at that era, in the pre-Civil War era, 1830s, 40s, and 50s. Ran for president himself as the Democrat nominee, but was the losing candidate in one of those pre-Civil War races. But aside from being in the cabinet, was a very influential, longtime member of the United States Senate from the state of Michigan. Michigan's only president is in the House of Representatives from Michigan. That would, of course, be Gerald Ford, who passed away several years ago, the Republican from Grand Rapids. Before he served as vice president and then president, was a Republican leader of the House of Representatives in the 1960s.
And David, he may be Michigan's only president, but he's also the only president who has not been actually elected vice president or president.
He is. That's one of the very intriguing facts about him. He did, unlike some other vice presidents who only served a portion of a presidential term, he did get renominated by his party, like John Tyler or certain others. He was renominated since we're filming from St. Louis, renominated in the last really contested presidential convention. Conventions are so prearranged and preordained now. It hasn't been since 1976 in Kansas City where a party went into that convention and it was unknown who was going to win, although Ford had a fairly large lead over Ronald Reagan at that point. Other congressmen from Michigan include John Dingell, who incredibly influential period as a congressman.
And part of the reason why he had an influential period is because he served in Congress for such a long time. He has the honor of being the longest serving congressman in American history. 59 years, and as we talk about when we do the congressional leadership teams, which we'll discuss in scintillating future videos, John Dingell will have thereby the honor of being the Dean of the House in this listing. Other congressmen from Michigan include John Conyers, who is, I believe, one of the 10 longest serving congressman in American history. He served an immensely long amount of time, but for, I think, all of that time, he was
second in his seniority in Michigan because he was second to John Dingell. There might have been one term or two after Dingell moved on that Conyers had Michigan seniority. Others from Michigan include Dale Kildee, a Democrat, William Broomfield, Republican, Sander Levin, a Democrat, and brother of longtime Michigan Senator Carl Levin. The name escaped me for a second. Roy Woodruff is long ago, was a progressive member of Congress from Michigan. He later served additional terms as a Republican as part of a long career in the House from Michigan, but first and for several terms elected as a progressive, and that's really why he makes this list. Julius Burrows, Republican, Claire Hoffman, Republican, and David Bonnier, Democrat, are three others. David Bonnier was the House Whip under Dick Gephardt, I believe in the 1990s and early 2000s. William Ford, Democrat, Guy Vanderjagt, Republican, Ronald Reagan himself. You worked at the Young Americans Foundation at the Reagan Ranch.
I did in Santa Barbara, California.
Guy Vanderjagt himself, Ronald Reagan himself said that Guy Vanderjagt was the best speaker he'd ever heard.
It's high praise.
Absolutely, pretty. When Reagan is
From
saying
Reagan,
that,
it's high praise.
Right? And the last person you ever wanted to follow on the stage at the political, you would never want to follow Guy Vanderjagt. Thomas Ferry, Republican, and Don Regal Jr., Democrat, are the two that wind up the all-time Michigan All-Star team. And Amy, welcome to the video presentation.
Happy to be here.